UFO Close Encounters. That was great. Isn't these are the new ones in a way. But I don't know.
Don't have an extra agenda, do you?
I do, it was,
Uh, there's some over there. I think.
yeah.
And that's it.
Look.
I think print more out as well if needed. I only printed 3.
Okay,
I'll sit right here.
at the moment, it looks like it's me.
Did you get something to eat? Staff?
I got cereals. That's no, help yourself. So before John eats them all.
I'm finished. No game.
You're intoxicated now. That's so,
Oh.
that's so funny.
Yes.
That's so funny. I was thinking the same thing. I thought, wow. She actually, she didn't hear you say that. She actually cracked a
I know,
smile.
I can do it.
I did.
I can't do it. I'm afraid of cyclosporic radio. I don't know. Where'd you get them from? Where they
What?
come? Huh?
What those?
But then
They washed?
The shirt, yeah. Like from, I rinsed them all. They're from Whole Foods.
Yeah, why can't I make you a copy?
I was in the grocery store, they said, what can I buy? They-
Mariah was talking about.
Yeah.
Somebody can.
I know. For the new outbreak, thank you JFK for all his surveillance of
Oh, what's the outbreak of?
the cyclos. What is?
Oh, I remember, I read that.
Which we haven't had in however many years because they used to survey for it and now they don't.
Oh, so what kind of food do you find that in?
It's vegetables.
No,
Oh, all the food that you eat, right?
no, Nick said hairy fruit.
Well, it's good for the recruits.
Yeah.
Basil, raspberries, are big.
Yeah, raspberries. I noticed the price of raspberries they were discounted. They probably can't get rid of them.
Somebody gave me, well, strawberries. Somebody gave me a tin of strawberries, my next door neighbor, which I don't want.
You can rinse them, you can't scrub them like you can scrub other
Yeah.
things. Depends on how
I'm not a
ruthless you
big
wanna be.
strawberry person, why?
I got a watermelon, I figured that would be safe.
Yeah, that's what I said, yeah, so. My sister showed me, go take watermelon and,
What have you got then?
as soon as I get it, cut it up and,
Fresh, sure.
thing.
Take a-
Those are really
take a-
nice. What am I gonna do with all the bits?
A scooper?
and make balls.
You know what?
Yeah,
I could-
it's easier than cutting it.
I go slice it in half and slice it that way, and then I take my knife and I go, pop, 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 pop. Like for like 5 minutes, and then I immediately go and.
To come up with a
pull that
hybrid,
in a
right? They
bag.
have seedless watermelon now.
Exactly.
Oh,
Come up with seedless chicken.
I dropped my
Curious.
from that, so.
Those would just fit, those would fly off the shelves.
I had cantaloupe the other day, that was
Seemed like
really, really good, yeah.
No?
Yeah, the watermelon doesn't seem to be as sweet as it.
Navel
I got the
oranges,
juice.
right?
Yeah.
But, yeah,
They don't have.
I keep mine in the refrigerator, I like it really cold, I freeze it sometimes too.
They just.
It's a great snack,
Quickly
just
came
to
up with that.
pop out and just,
And hydrate
Eat it.
yourself.
yeah. Let me see if that's true.
Okay, Georgette?
Well,
You can let everybody in now? Yeah.
There are a lot of people, because they.
This bag of cherries is leaking.
us.
But Don was
Did you see
here.
that Charlie got on, tried to get on the meeting? It's like, what? Oh, really?
All right, we're on candid camera, guys.
There we go. Yeah, what's your language, Mary?
Boy, that really digs me. What do you think of that?
They both of us, John, you've been so quiet,
Sorry?
so quiet.
Yeah?
I like the way John can look at us and know that there's consensus without anybody saying anything. I'm so impressed with his ability to know us that well. I know when we go to vote, we go to vote and everybody shoots it down. Like that day we had, we were talking about something. And there was like 50 people on the call and we said, we're not gonna talk about it.
was like two.
Yeah, this is everybody starts dropping down.
I remember that.
Well, I can't remember what the topic was.
I can't remember what
It
either.
was gonna be some,
I think it was the truck.
The Eastman.
Yeah, it was the.
this was the
Eastman.
easement?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. The troops had been rallied.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was the Charleston Pros.
Yeah. Was that it? It's always
Yeah.
something. I don't think there's anything to, like, how many people are on it? It's 20.
All right,
I couldn't understand.
I
that.
can't read them.
good. Everybody's here.
Oh, people.
All right, first item of business is, can you guys hear okay online?
Thumbs up from
I
Meryl.
need some thumbs up if it's loud enough. You can always make it louder on your device, but hopefully we're good. Paul has sent one flying. Okay, good. All right, so we will resume the open session of the council meeting now. The agenda, which was approved at the outset at 6 o'clock. And the next item on our agenda is a public hearing on ordinance 2026-06, authorizing the sale of land occupied by a porch at 203 Second Avenue, constructed in part on land owned by the town of Washington Grove. So this is an ordinance to sell land under the porch at 203 Second Avenue. It is one of the properties for which Article 17 of our Code of Ordinances applies, which prescribes a process for the owner of the property to purchase the land under a portion of the main building that encroaches on town property. So the owners, Edel Polson, has requested that the town sell her the land. And as a result, we've put together the ordinance, which is in the meeting materials. The ordinance consists of the usual whereases and what fors, with a few exhibits that include a survey of the property. It includes something else I'm forgetting, but mainly it includes some requirements on the use of the land related to its historic character of the property. So all of that is there, and this is the public hearing on this ordinance. So public hearing's open. Anyone here wish to speak to this ordinance? All right, not seeing anyone, then we'll open and close the ordinance, the public hearing. And we can move on to the regular business of the town council. First item on that is approval of minutes. The council received, actually in reasonable time, almost, the minutes to 3 meetings that remained unapproved. The March 23rd meeting, which got overlooked, it was the council meeting and budget work session in March. The May 18th meeting that followed the annual town meeting to organize the town council, but also to conduct business. And last month's meeting, June 8th.
Mhm.
So I'd like a motion to approve the minutes.
This is Mary. I'll move to approve the minutes.
Thank you.
It's Chris, I second.
Thank you, Chris. Does anyone have any comments or corrections to those?
Nope.
Hearing none, all in favor of approval of those 3 minutes? I see 6, it's unanimous approval, thank you. All right, this brings us now to public appearances, which the public is offered 3 minutes. to address any subject they care to address. And I am seeing Paula with 5 fingers waving at us. So Paula would like to address
Thank
something.
you.
So,
Thank
all right.
you. I'm here just to ask a couple of questions about the herbicide application on Grove Avenue near Macaulay, which is in front of my house and a couple of others. I'll just say at the outset, forgive me if I missed something. I may have just missed something. And I know the town is usually really good about notifying people and asking for public input. But I didn't see anything until I saw just this little sign on the path this morning. I mean, it couldn't have been there more than a couple days because I was out there. And it said that it would be applied July 13th, which was today. And I saw the dye, which meant that it had already been applied. So I have some concerns. I know this has been done by these same people in other areas in town, but this is close to houses and yards and gardens. There's the new, as far as I know, a new application, new area. So I'm curious as to why there wasn't public input or the neighbors who were most affected weren't asked. And I'm also really worried because I have big pots of tomatoes and eggplant in my garden that's just a few feet from there. It's not far. And so I know that when the people apply it, that they have all the protective equipment on, and I don't know exactly what the herbicide is, but I worry about particulate matter being airborne and getting on my vegetables. So I'm really worried about eating them now. So I would, and so I know that in an effort to take care of invasive species, that the town's very concerned. And I do see that sometimes herbicides might be the best method. So I'm not like total anti. However, I really worry about being a little too cavalier and making sure that it's really the last resort. I have bamboo in my yard. I don't use herbicides. I keep it controlled. So I'm just worried about those kinds of things. I need to know the name of the herbicide that is used because I want to go to some people who really know that stuff, not me, to some people who really know it so that they could get information, not from the manufacturer, unbiased scientific information about it, because I want to be sure that since it's close to my house, that it's not going to affect the food that I eat, the yard that my dog plays in. So, and like I say, the town I feel is usually really good about that stuff. So I don't really understand what happened. So I know you don't have to respond to me right now, but I really, really hope that someone responds to my concerns and gives me the name of the herbicide.
You know, Georgette, she's on the call right now, but just call Georgette and she can give you all the information that you need. And you understand that it was a huge expense and it took, what, 10 years or 20 years to finally get all that bamboo removed from
Oh,
the-
I'm happy. I'm happy
I
it's
know.
removed.
So, all right. So anyway, just call Georgette though. and she'll
Well,
give you all
but
the-
that's not my only concern. I just want you to register all of my concerns with this, please.
Okay.
Mhm.
I would say more, but John will yell at me, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna be quiet.
So everybody else.
I appreciate your comments, Paula. If we overlooked an alert that this was gonna happen, I'm not aware that we did, and we need to find out why it was applied without warning. I think this is the first report of this I've heard. since we started the policy of advance information on treatment. So I agree with Peter, talk with Georgette, because that's the area for forestry and beautifications. There was an alert today concerning
The woods.
the woods,
Yeah,
correct, which was
I saw that.
absolutely not Grove Avenue, so.
Yeah, see, I would have
yeah,
covered my plants had I
Yeah,
known.
no, that's, okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, Paul, you're next.
Okay, great. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I just wanted to say a few words. I saw that communication was on the agenda, and I wanted to give a little bit of context. I also submitted a written statement, which I hope will be included with the minutes. But the short of it is the Sustainability Committee received an application for an incentive rebate a month or two ago, and this application was filed more than a year after the vehicle was purchased, and so consistent with the resolution in effect at the time, the committee decided to recommend rejecting this application. And then Liz Galanders, to her credit, discovered that the town website actually does not have either the most recent or the version of the resolution even before that. There have been 2 updates to the program. And in fact, nowhere on the incentive program website does it even say that there's a time limit as far as we can tell. So she actually reversed our decision, which in retrospect, I think we on the committee probably agree with. The main reason I wanted to bring this to the council's attention was in large part because I think this illustrates some of the communication issues we've been having in town. I realize this is an ongoing discussion and there's things probably in the works to fix this, but just want to highlight that the sort of lack of updating the webpage and some of these broader communication issues are having impacts on our ability as committee members to do our work effectively. And the only other thing I want to say is I personally am of the opinion that it would be really helpful if we got to have a more proactive approach to addressing communication issues in town. I think, Christine did a really wonderful job, but a lot of the response has been very reactive, responding to, committee members and residents when things come up. But I think it would be really helpful to, have someone who's engaged in understanding what communication issues need to be addressed and reaching out to committees and residents to help deal with those proactively. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Okay, Paul, thank you. Do you have anybody else tonight? And of course, Paul will be listening to the discussion of coming up on communication. No one else? In that case, we will call an end to the public appearances and move on to the treasurer's report from Jean Moyer. So Jean.
Yep, are you putting it up, John?
I am.
Aha. So this is the year end. However, these numbers are really draft form. I'm still waiting on both income and expense items. Some of the income is a month, sometimes 2-month lag, and gets updated sometimes during the audit. But this is the best what we have right now. I wanted to point out that hopefully nobody panics. If you look at our income being at 58%, that is really just math, because the budget included spending the full ARPA money as well as tapping into the state grant money for the stormwater purposes. And we now really haven't tapped into the state stormwater money. The 5,500 that you see there is actual. That's from the Meadow state money that we have 3 state grants And so we did not tap into the Maryland State Stormwater Grant and really spent very little that we thought we would spend from the ARPA money. So that really just sort of distorts that percentage, and I didn't want anyone to panic over that. The expenses, there's nothing in the expenses that alarms me. I put notes in there for items that might perk somebody's interest. And happy to answer any questions on expenses. I'm still open to receiving expenses related to FY 26. And if folks, council folks, if you can remind any committees under your purview that I really need to get those. We have a new procedure that was presented to the council a month, maybe 2 months ago, trying to hurry up people to at year end to get year-end expenses in. And I'm open to any questions.
This is Barbara.
Uh-huh.
I don't see any payment to the Newtown administrator on here. Is it categorized differently?
But we don't, I didn't create a separate line for administrator. You'll see that in FY 27. The money for the 1 month was added into the town clerk.
Oh.
Yeah, for just the 1 month.
Okay.
Because we didn't have a budget item for town administrator. She was,
This Chris, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Right.
So this, Chris, I have a question, same old, but have you heard from Chesapeake Fire trying to close out their?
My understanding was we mailed them the last check.
Okay. Yeah, I'll reach out to them and make sure that
Reach
they're
out to
happy.
them. I don't know if you're expecting some sort of formal document that says closed.
Well, no, as long as, you know, I think the invoice and bills are paid, I think they'll be happy, and I just want to make sure that, you know, a few months down the road, I'm not going to get an email asking me what's going on, so
right.
I'll make sure that,
Yeah,
and
I can
they
certainly
tend to do
work
that.
with you on checking in with them to make sure everything's fine.
Yeah, I'll make sure they're happy. You know, it takes a while for them to figure out who's who.
It does seem that way.
Thank you.
Okay, need a motion to accept the treasurer's report. June,
Barbara moved.
Barbara moved, and
Peter will second.
Peter a second. All in favor of accepting Jean's treasurer's report? That's a unanimous vote. Thank you, Jean. All right, brings us to my report. As always, I start out with kudos. Well, the Recreation Committee was very active this last month, and the first kudos goes to the committee for organizing the entertaining music weekend events that many residents enjoyed, including the Magic Art Bus, which was to have been with Circle Fest, but was transferred to Music Weekend on the morning of Jazz Brunch Sunday. So everybody enjoyed that, and the Recreation Committee pulled off an excellent weekend. Then, of course, the Recreation Committee with even more volunteer help, as well as the Muskrat Band, accomplished a well-orchestrated July 4th celebration in the 90-degree heat. A large crowd attended all events, and yes, I actually managed to show up on the tractor to lead the parade. There were tents to shade everyone in front of McCatherine Hall, which was much appreciated and greatly improved everybody's enjoyment of the of the afternoon, as well as, of course, the hot dogs and lemonade and other drinks that were provided. So really a terrific July 4th. And the kudos go to the Recreation Committee and all of the volunteers. And then, of course, anybody's been awake at the listserv, a shout out has to go to Eva Patron, the Summer in the Parks program director, and Laurel Goldberg, who accomplished a massive organizational and paperwork effort to get SITP its first ever, that we are aware of, permit and license to operate from the state and the county. And not only did they meet the requirements for this year, but they set a standard, and also, you know, much of the paperwork is ready for the next year and the years after. So fantastic job, Eva and Laurel, for undertaking such a major effort. All right, next item is on safety and vandalism. Of course, there was another spate of vehicle vandalism and break-ins, and a few suggestions were offered. Chris and I are going to arrange to speak with Officer Melanie Romano, the community services rep, about several of those suggestions, and see whether any of them may be advantageous. All right, the WSSC sewer replacement, Center Street. The WSSC contacted us probably 2 or 3 months ago. Contacted the commission for the permit that they must get to work on town property. With their latest replacement project for an old sewer lines and a variety of laterals from those lines to the residences. The major work is going on Center between Ridge and Maple Avenue, and as well as some work on Brown and on sort of the far end of Ridge Road. The WSSC jumped the gun mightily by notifying residents. One of our council members was particularly shocked, as well he would be, when they notified him about the work that were going on in front of his house and some impacts on trees. That's one of the main things we discussed with WSSC, as well as repairing the roadway that they will be digging up. And those discussions are ongoing. They don't have their permit. We only received the detailed plans for impacts of the work, I'd say 3 weeks ago or so, and they alarmed us since it differed from our first site visit, and we will be meeting with them this week to review and see what sort of alternatives there may be to the proposed removal of some rather large trees, among other things. Okay, I wanted to just mention to everyone that some circumstances that occur routinely around town, but in this case occurred on Grove Avenue, where in the vicinity of where the bamboo was removed, and Paula addressed the herbicide activity there. But as most of you know, you may or may not know, 20 years ago, it was the policy in the town to encourage residents to beautify town walkways behind their homes. And in ways that didn't impinge on the function of the walkway. And many walkways, we have 50 feet of right of way. And, you know, the immediate 10 or feet from the properties on both sides have been in many areas beautified by residents. Grove Avenue is a perfect example, the oldest part of Grove Avenue. The fact is, however, that those efforts to beautify have consequences. They have consequences for landscaping. Steve had to deal with some difficult areas where things had been planted that just simply made it difficult to mow and take care of things. And in some cases, residents have put things that weren't just plants, such as stone borders and other features. So I have suggested to the planning commission that it may be in the town's interests, both the residents for sure and the town, for to institute a way of having some oversight, getting the benefits of these beautification projects that residents are willing to do and maintain, but somehow counter any of the negative aspects of these projects. And my suggestion is that we do a walkway or townland beautification permit, where anyone wishing to do this sort of thing, mostly it would apply to the walkways, that they would simply propose what they were going to do to the planning commission. The planning commission would establish some guidelines as to what is acceptable and what isn't, and why. And then they would sign off on these beautification projects. We'll see what comes of that if this be entertained and make a recommendation or not to the council. The stormwater infrastructure project. As everyone knows, it's kind of got bogged down, and after a quick start, the work was suspended pretty much due to the lack of staking out the area that would be worked on by the engineer who worked with us to do the design for the work. So things were held up. Work has been going on for anyone who's walked down there on Hutch's Way, and the asphalt swale has been removed, and that work is continuing, but the work on the rest was suspended. It's about to restart. I believe Steve tells me Steve's our on-site coordinator for the project. That it will restart in areas starting this week to work on. Likely areas are Oak Street, and I don't know what order or whether they'll work on simultaneously, but Center and Oak, and of course at some point Acorn, the intersection with all those areas. So that's the status. I think we'll see a lot of activity this month. All right, on vacant properties registry. You will recall that the council instituted a vacant properties registry in fiscal 24, fiscal 25, 2 years ago. And last year was the first year of the registry. We had 3 properties that were registered, not completely satisfactorily, but to a significant extent. 1 was complete, 2 were deficient in a few areas. Those properties have been notified that their renewal is due for the coming year. And we'll see what happens. 2 of them, the owners have indicated they plan to sell. We will believe it when we see it. Right?
September.
All right. Some of you probably noticed the Grove alert about custodial services at McCatherine Hall. We, with summer in the parks and, some upkeep, it's rather critical to do do our regular, custodial cleanup, and inside as well as at the maintenance shed. Unfortunately, Greg, I'm forgetting his last name, I apologize.
Night.
Greg Knight has been unable to work due to a physical issue. He may be coming back this month, hopefully. Meanwhile, we needed someone to fill in. And lo and behold, Kathy Lehman, who now has virtually nothing to do, has offered to fill in. So Kathy is no doubt proving that if you want it done right, you do it yourself. So we're going to take advantage of Kathy to fill in for Greg. Finally, the shared use pathway report. The liaison group and myself and our town attorney had a meeting with the county DOT people executing the project to discuss the easement that the town needs to provide to the county for them to do the pathway, the bit of pathway that is on town property at the end of Brown Street. That meeting had some discussion of some terms that were missing from the county's draft easement, and we are now going to negotiate whether or not we can add some few terms to that easement. It's on the agenda further on, so I won't say anything more about that, but the intention with the introduction of the ordinance to authorize the easement, which hopefully which will happen tonight, the town would be on track to execute an easement in just about 2 months. You'll hear more about the process when we get to that. And that's the end of my report. If there are any questions, I'll answer them. We can go on. Okay, great. So we'll move to the administrative matters, which is rather lengthy, as you may have seen. I will start with Chris Grisham on crimes and suspicious activities.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hopefully I'll make this quick. First of all, something that just recently happened, I think it was like Friday, where we have a town resident who closes the park gate at dusk and then somebody opens it up in the morning. But when she was trying to close the gate, apparently there was already a car in the park. She with the headlights on, and she approached the car and told them that the park was closed and asked them to leave. And while she was talking to them, another car came into the park, tinted glass windows. She was my understanding is wedged between the two cars. Both cars, the car that was already in the park one of the individuals got out and got into the car with the tinted glass windows, and then they all went back into their original cars and they left. So what I'm trying to say is there are things going on in this park that we need to be very aware of. And I think not only with vandalism, with people going through town, but there are other possibly nefarious activities going on. So we need to be very careful. So with that, it kind of is a segue to all residents should report any suspicious activity to the Montgomery County Police non-emergency numbers. And it's the non-emergency, well, these numbers are also in the phone book, our directory, but it's 301-279-8000, or the tip line is 240-773-TIPS, or you could even text to crimes. And the bottom line is, if you see something, say something. And I really appreciate the town residents who are reporting these issues to me. And as John mentioned earlier, it would be all that much more information that we could provide to our Montgomery County police to help us. Thank you.
So, so a rebuttal, it's not a rebuttal. So we are totally reactive. And yeah, I've lived here 40 years, and especially in the summertime, not just at the park, but at the gazebo, by the maintenance shed. There's always suspicious car, they park along, and everybody knows. Some kids told me that Washington Grove was a big joke as far as drug dealing. The kids from the high school, this is just considered a safe zone for doing things. I am totally, I had my car ransacked, but they didn't take anything. And but I mean, considering the number of cars that we are victims, we're being victimized, we're being totally reactive. My understanding was that the police basically said they're not going to do anything. That's kind of my understanding of what I heard. And they don't have the manpower or the womanpower, and they have a priority. There's a lot just in a few neighborhoods around us. There's a lot going on, which is a lot more serious than somebody stealing quarters from cars and things like that. But cars have been stolen, there's things broken, and it seems like I've been hearing a lot of rumblings from our citizens who feel that they are being victimized, and they expect, we're the leaders, they expect us to do something. And I know you're working on it, and I know John's working on it, but I really think that we need to give this a little bit more priority as far as being proactive and how we can, defend ourselves. Because I really do feel, and I think we all feel, I don't know if it's happened to you, but it's just a horrible feeling when you go out. And I don't even have I didn't have a window broken, I didn't have my steering column broken. But when you see your glove compartment open and people going through your personal stuff, and to me, this is like step one where they go, oh, this is an easy place. And then maybe it seems like it's escalating already. And I just think that we need to be a little bit more proactive.
Okay.
So
I want to echo one thing about Peter, and then I have a question for the two of you. I had a similar experience with a guy who was exposed himself. And I actually called the Gaithersburg number that you had, gave them the license plate number, description of the cars and everything. And they kind of, in no uncertain terms, told me they didn't have the staff and they couldn't help. And it kind of mirrors what he says about not enough staff. Question I have for the two of you is, what will you ask of this woman who is, quote, supposed to work with us, given the circumstances of repeated message, we don't have enough staff to deal with petty crime?
So, if I may,
Yes.
I don't know if you
Go ahead.
participated in the June 25th Zoom conference with our public service, what's her name? Community service officer, Officer Romano. And so she did point out that we have had an escalation since from a year ago in crimes. It's pretty
the Grove or
The Grove.
Montgomery County?
The Grove.
Oh, okay.
The Grove in particular.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know about Montgomery County in general, but we went from like almost 0 cars affected in 2025 to so far this year. I think she said 8 this year, and the year's not even over yet. So there is an escalation, and they are well aware of this, right? And so the more we report, the more we end up on their radar screens to get the assistance that we need. They're very limited in resources.
I couldn't find that in your Apple Music library. You can ask me to play a radio station or ask for your music on a different app.
I like that.
We could do that.
We get
So Apple.
But I'm not sure we're going to.
No idea.
That was,
What computer that came from?
I think we were just all getting too serious.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
It must have been my computer, right? But anyway, so long story short is we are trying to figure, and that's exactly what the mayor also talked about. We're talking deterrence, but then also we're trying to figure out what can we do. That was what the initial Zoom meeting was all about, to bring it to Montgomery County Police Department's attention that this town is being affected. So they did the research, they pulled the data, they presented what they had, and it was an opportunity for the town residents to speak up. Oddly enough, if you watch the video, I think we had maybe 2 people that asked some questions. There wasn't a lot.
How many people are on the video? Was
Quite a
it?
few.
About 25 or so.
Yeah.
I never got the my communication problems span.
So, but that video is
If I-
available, right?
Yeah,
It's on the
bulletin,
website.
there's
Yeah.
links. Yeah,
And so what can we do? And we're gonna,
it's on the website.
we're reaching out. That's what we're saying, is we're not the experts in this, and they know what's going on in the county, in addition to what's going on here. So we're reaching out to them to see what can we do as a town. One of the things that was circulated was, and a lot of people don't seem to like that because we'll be a surveillance town, is putting up cameras. Over a year ago, there was a group that came in for CATA, and they did a presentation. They were going to give us a free demo for 60 days to 90 days. And everybody shot that down, because of Big Brother watching you. So, we're kind of caught. If there's anybody watching or here in the council that has any ideas, please provide that. We're struggling to try to move forward with initiatives.
because other towns, yeah, I mean, not to get the police, but other towns have, are dealing with this, and there's some, instead of reinventing the wheel, there's probably, I started doing that, but then, we move forward. It just seems like also though, no matter what we do, it's like, it's kind of like an overwhelming problem, because like people have videos of people, but there's a hoodie, it's dark, they're looking for cameras, and even if you found somebody, just like with this guy, the exposure, and all this information is given to the police, are they gonna prosecute a 15-year-old who's breaking into cars? It's kind of like, it's
Well, apparently in Montgomery County, I think, or the laws in Maryland, I'm not
Yeah.
sure. But it's like either if you're 12 or younger, they could only arrest you and take you home, and then you're under parent custody,
yeah, so it's yeah.
That's the kind of scenario that we, the town, are dealing with, and also the police.
Mhm,
Regarding the thing with the indecent exposure,
mhm.
Officer Romano brought that up also, and she's saying, bottom line is, she's been getting a lot of reports, but it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, but whoever the eyewitnesses has to actually see.
They need an eyewitness.
See.
Who can identify the individual. Then they can prosecute.
Well, it's not just the individual, but the action. They need to see
Well,
that particular action.
Even if it's kids.
Whoever the witness is, they need that eyewitness account, is what she's saying, for them to go after this individual.
Mhm, mhm.
And it could be more than one.
Yeah.
Well, I assume that's the women who are in the cars. You're asking the women in the cars to come forward.
Well, it's not just the women. There's, my wife was even approached by this guy, and she was walking down the pathway.
Yeah.
This guy is but she went the other way, she just avoided this individual. But apparently there were some kids that were unfortunately exposed to this individual. Now, whether they saw anything or not, I don't know. But
Well, I'm glad they're talking about it, because
Yeah.
it's almost like it's all been swept under, and this discussion, what you and John are doing, is great. I think it'll make people feel a little bit better that the town is.
Officer Romano did make some suggestions
Mhm,
for discouraging
mhm.
even middle of the night. And it's to a certain extent, it's a private property issue. Now, we're not going to erect fences and security gates or whatever,
Mhm.
but there are things that you can do. I mean, people have cameras, And, you know, those can catch people in for identification.
Hmm.
I didn't understand why people who have this concern don't have motion activated floodlights.
Yeah.
I can't think of any faster way to discourage someone than to suddenly flood them with light. Somebody goes by at 4 in the morning, man,
So you
the moment
wanna,
they step onto your property,
so you don't wanna buy some bait cars
uh,
out there? No?
Police cars, we should.
speaking of bait cars, we're going to install some decoy surveillance cameras. Steve apparently discovered some outdated technology cameras that we
Yeah.
have never installed, and we could use them with signs to make people believe they're under surveillance.
Mhm.
I mean, there's all that. There's
Yeah.
the neighborhood watch. There are
Right.
all the things that because anybody who expects the police to nab these people
Yeah.
is dreaming.
Yeah.
I mean, unless unless the town wants to get together and do active prevention. That guy going around in his car, man, if I haven't seen him yet. But you know, if I was a dog worker, I might carry a handful of tacks, of nails. When I see that clown, I might just toss nails in front of his car, punctures a tire or two, he won't be coming back too quickly. I mean, I'm just making stuff up.
So if anybody in town
You-
gets
you-
a flat.
You'll be the one who's arrested.
I
That's
doubt it.
exactly.
I doubt it. I
Exactly.
just, you know.
Yeah.
So I guess the other thing too is,
Mhm.
is it's in look at the Grove Alert that issued the bulletin. That's where it is.
Yeah.
And there's I put together a summary
Mhm.
of what was in the presentation, and then there's links in there also. There's
It's on the
also
front page of the website now.
yeah, okay. And then there's also links to Montgomery County Police Services, where they will help you buy security cameras, up to what, $250. They will reimburse you. And then there's another where you could sign up, and if you have like a Ring Cam or a camera or something that's on the
Yeah,
web,
right, right.
you could log in
Mhm.
and register your camera with the police, and at your permission,
Mhm.
if something happens, they'll access your camera to get additional. They need evidence.
Right,
They need
right,
evidence.
right.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of where we're at.
Mhm.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
It took longer than 5. I'm sorry.
Well, I blame it on me.
That's okay. You took all your time from Mary.
Yeah.
It was up next with a review of Maple Lake rules.
Ah,
right.
Actually going to share those.
Yeah.
So, it kind of came up in the training and orientation of the new lifeguards that there's some confusion as to what the Maple Lake rules are. In particular, non-residents using the coming into the lake, number of people that can come in at one time, and also what the no dog rule is. Lifeguards were under the impression that dogs could come anytime as long as the people that were at the lake agreed, which is not. Anyway, so it made us think we need to go back and at least establish what the current rules are. The last regulations were from September 2018. And in reading through them, there are some things already in those that we don't do anymore. It used to get permits to be at the lake. You'd get it at the town meeting. Haven't done that for a long time. So that kind of has to be looked at. How do you get identify who is a resident, who's not? In the regulations, there are many people. John is responsible and several other people. One is that the lifeguards, that is part of their duties, to make sure that people are eligible to be there. So we've started on a trial basis just to see how it works. An actual sign up sheet like they do at private pools where people come in and register who they are, and if they're bringing a guest, have a little table at the entrance to sign. The lifeguard has only been a couple of days, and so far people have been understanding and do it. It's a lot on the lifeguards to kind of be responsible for that, especially when it gets busy and they have other things that they're looking at. But That's something that the committee is going to kind of, we want to look at the regulations and come up with some ideas to present to the council how we should handle that. The other thing is clarifying the no dog rule. In the current regulations, it simply says no dogs. And it's always been kind of, fuzzy around the edges, but having dogs there when everybody's there during the day was never really anything that was officially sanctioned. So that's a policy that we need to look at, and we'll look at and come up with some recommendations to the council of what we want. And the other part was the number of people that can come in. The rules say that if it's more than 8 people in your party, you need to get a party permit. So that's another thing not really being enforced, that we have to look at. But I just wanted everybody to, kind of officially relook at what the current regulations are, so we know what our starting point is.
good.
And then the lake committee is gonna, talk about some of the stuff and come up with some recommendations to bring back to council.
Is this posted on the website?
Yes. Okay, thanks, Mary. All right. Next item, update on the town administrator activities. So our town administrator, wherever she's hiding over here now. Anna Burke started on July 1st, actually, exactly. So she's been on the job for 13 days minus a bunch of holidays and what have you.
Good job. Wow.
So,
Did you get a raise yet?
of course, she spent a month with Kathy, overlapping with Kathy before, in June.
There you go, she needs a vacation, is that what you're saying?
So, her main task is to familiarize herself with all of the basic responsibilities of our over the years that the town clerk has had here in the town office regarding communications of all sorts with town residents. And that she's pretty well along with, obviously, at least whatever 1 month can do, seasonal stuff aside. Her main tasks now, in addition to that, are to organize the paper files that were holdovers from Kathy's time. There was a fair amount of paper documents, and both Anna's intention and that of those of us in the council who hired her is to eliminate as much paper from the town records as possible and make everything electronic. That requires organizing things electronically. So in the process of working to reduce the paper she inherited, that will take place, as well as all the new documents and stuff that pours in all the time. Her other priority has been to bring our code of ordinances up to date. Most everyone knows that the code of ordinances on paper, which most of you don't have or don't see, but the one on the website has gaps and deficiencies in the information on those ordinances, on that code. So in addition, individual actions of the council, the resolutions and the ordinances are not accessible on the website, which would be a good idea to have, but they're not even accessible to you guys or anybody easily. I've been around a while, so I can get to most of them, but I discovered one I didn't have just the other week. Don't ask me how it slipped through the cracks. So her priority has been to organize the individual actions of the council back to roughly 2013, but she's going further back than that, into electronic documents with names, In addition, as you all should be aware, Charlie Charlstrom went to the effort of scanning to PDF a great deal, great many resolutions and ordinances, everything he had and could find, and those go back, I want to say 1980 something or another. So, yeah, there's a few back that far, right. And we want those to be part of the record, of course, as well. Many of those are in our code of ordinances. For those of you who don't know, the code of ordinances is the compendium of the ordinances and that the council has passed over the years. So that's her other priority, and when she gets all the documents together and we have a half a chance of having them individually accessible, then she's going to look through the code of ordinances and make sure they say what up till the most current actions of the council, and we'll annotate them to say last updated, the date will be there, so that a lot of things, if you go to any code in the state or the county, they're largely done that way. So you can have half a chance of knowing that, this one was revised 2 years ago, that one wasn't 15 years ago, whatever. So that's what her main priorities. There are other things she's going to get involved with, and we're going to get to those when we talk about the website and getting down to that. All right, any questions? I should say, well, no, I won't say. Let's just go on. Next item is appointments to the playground committee. Since Nick was elected to the town council, his position on the playground committee became open. Kind of a conflict of interest from the council and the playground committee. So the playground committee suggested that a couple would like to both participate and share a position. The playground committee currently has 8 members. So Morgan Black and Johnny Black offered to share the one slot, the one vote. Which is really a good deal for the playground committee because they get two heads. And I agreed after speaking with them. So I'm looking for confirmation of appointing Morgan Black and Johnny Black as a playground committee member.
I move they be appointed.
Nick has moved.
Mary second.
Mary has seconded. Any discussion? In favor? Thank you. Unanimous. Appointed. Okay, next item is revision to the basketball court resurfacing contract. So last month, Peter asked the council to approve going forward with Mid-Atlantic Paving's bid, which was obtained last year in response to the RFP, was one of a few bids and was a low bid. We were unable to award that contract because we didn't have money, and the bid was higher than the budget allowed, significantly higher. We didn't award it for last year, but now this year we put enough money in, so we have funds. So Peter requested that their updated bid, he asked for them to update their bid, which was just a minor increase. And so the council last month agreed to award Mid-Atlantic the bid with some additional questions as to what the work would entail. So Peter and I met with them and discussed the of how best to deal with these extensive cracks, almost all of which appear to be due to roots. And so Mid-Atlantic went away and came back with a revised bid that does a better job of addressing some of those larger cracks and increased the contract by roughly $2,000, which seems like perfectly reasonable to do to provide a better preparation for paving over the existing cracks. We're not we're not digging up the existing pavement. We are preparing it and putting a new layer, 2-inch layer. They also put down a fabric layer that tends to prevent cracking. It's a feature that is standard. So I'm here just to get the council's approval to approve the work with, and I put in the increased cost of a couple of $1,000 in the materials.
So I'll make a motion to approve Mid-Atlantic for repairing the basketball.
I second the motion.
All right, Peter moved and Nick has seconded. Any discussion?
The one thing that I think we're really fortunate about is that asphalt is made out of petroleum products. And we are really fortunate that the price didn't go way up.
It did go up, but
Well, not 25% like gasoline did. But they said that's like coming. So anyway, I think we're pretty fortunate to be moving forward with this.
Let everyone get a vote so we can move on.
Okay.
I do have one question though, and one of the things that came up, I guess, maybe last discussion, we're talking 2-inch. And that's 2 inches compact, is that right?
Yeah.
Is
oh,
that-
you mean, is it
How thick would it be after it's?
Sounds like, are you Steve or is this Chris? Yes, it is. She said, I asked her, Steve had that concern, and I asked her that question, and she said, they put 2 inches down, and this is, they do this for all the county, all the stuff. They said what they're doing for our court is that's what you do, exactly what they are. So Steve's question was more related, not to basketball courts, but to roadways. As far as the compact, because nobody drives on a street, you have obviously cars and trucks and everything else going in and pushing it down. On here, we don't, cars don't drive on that. And she even said that too. So the 2 inches that they're putting down is what you put down. That's what they do.
So compact, and I guess like you're
Yeah.
saying with the additional weight, I mean, not too long ago, we saw a whole bunch of mulch being dumped on the.
Right, well, of course, we're not, but that's because it's already wrecked, but we would never,
But what I'm saying is
Yeah.
from here on out, that's not gonna be standard practice, right?
no, never.
no, we're going to prohibit vehicles on the vest.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course, yeah.
I mean, the mulch itself,
Yeah.
way all that much.
If we have to get rid of the
Yeah,
playground,
truck.
if we have,
Oh, definitely.
if we have to get rid of the playground, we will, just to protect that, that's all. No mulch for you. No, but it's a good question, but,
They're all mulching.
yeah, but that's like, the explanation they gave me, which makes sense.
And then there's, and then I didn't really have time to go through that, but a guarantee, a year.
Yeah, there's some relatively short-term guarantee.
Yeah,
Basketball courts are used so often that.
Yeah.
It's like,
okay.
we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, and for, I guess, the other council members, I did look on Better Business and they're rated at A plus. So-
Yeah,
They're-
they're a good
Yeah,
company.
so they are a good company.
Great customer service
Yeah.
and, so,
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
good question though.
anybody else have any questions? We'll move to a vote, all in favor of moving the revised,
Yeah.
all right, well, let's get that and see about getting the playground repaired. I mean, the basketball court repaired. Okay, well, let's segue into the hard tennis court,
Yes.
which has cracks as well. Some larger and some hairline, a fair number of smaller ones. So what, just to review, we opted to do a trial with a crack filling strategy that Jupiter Systems suggested. That I'll simplify that. Mike Shank, who lives over on Ridge Road, is Jupiter Systems, which he has used and others to fill cracks without enlarging the cracks or anything. It's a straightforward clean the crack and fill it, and then make it level. So we tried that on a crack, and the The assessment has been that it looks like it's held up a whopping 6 weeks or so. And so he put in a proposal to do the rest of the larger cracks, the ones suitable to be filled, not these little ones can't be filled. And that was roughly, I would say $4,000, the remaining cracks. In addition, the court needs cleaning. It has mold and fun stuff like that on it. Whenever the court is even slightly damp, that produces a serious hazard, becomes very slippery. So he's also quoted a thorough removal of the mold and a treatment to retard reappearance of mold. I'm not sure you can do that around here, but so I'm going to I'd like the council's blessing to go ahead with the crack repair and separately the cleanup, the surface cleanup of the tennis courts for now. The alternative is we have money in the budget. We need to make sure we understand what's happening here. We put in $120,000 for the hard court. And that would pay, that amount was chosen as being, would have covered the high bid to literally take off 4 or 5 inches of the hard court down to the support, level the supporting the base and put on a new surface. We also have bids. We have lesser bids for that. We also have bids for a less thorough replacement of the hard court, which involve only a few inches, not going to the base. And those are in the 50 to 70 or $80,000 range. And depending on how this crack repair holds up, we may want to pursue one of those. I won't hazard a guess which or make a recommendation which. But my suggestion is to do this crack repair and reevaluate the court in the spring. We'll have a winter of stress on these cracks and see if we should go ahead with a surface renewal of lesser or greater extent on the hard court.
So what you're not mentioning is that Mid-Atlantic, when they were doing the, they also do tennis courts. And they looked at that and there was they gave us 2 prices. And one was to do professionally through the cracks, which would be to clean them out, put in a whatever they put in there to do it. And then they would obviously clean the surface, which needs to be done.
They'd resurface.
They would resurface with
That's just the painting.
They would be, yeah, they would
Up
paint,
top.
they would put the paint on that, and then they would line the courts. And so I asked her, and then she gave us a price to basically do what John said, which was to take off the coat. And her recommendation was to just go with, I think they came up with like around $30,000 to do that job. Which, this is what their recommendation.
30,000 for doing what job? To do the crack repair?
To do the crack, well, it's crack repair, resurface it. So it'd be resurface and then do the lines. And no matter what happens, I'm not a pickleballer, but it's very popular. And that's the court's primarily used for pickleball. And the lines, I'm not a fan of pickleball and those lines, but the lines that are on there now they're terrible. And I think that one thing we do need to do is to do some relining. And so we're looking at, doing Band-Aid stuff and money. And I mean, I personally would just like to see, we're doing the basketball court. We have the money. I'd rather see the tennis courts, redone for the $30,000, or at least get some more people in to invest, get some more bids or experts to come in besides Mid-Atlantic and give us some advice on doing it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the advantage of is doing kind of a very small repair. to wait till the spring, what's gonna need repairs in the spring as well as it does now, right?
May not need repairs in the spring.
Yeah,
So is the motion to approve the $30,000?
there's no motion. We're talking
about
we get into, yeah,
what the options right now.
because we were hearing some options and then this is.
My proposal was to do the crack,
Yeah.
the
Do the band.
filling repair.
So what is Mike's cost with cleaning and the repair? You
Just
said-
over 5,000. Well, it's under 5,000. But it's really two separate things.
Right, right.
Cleaning and crack.
Right.
There were some other, yeah.
So the hope is just to postpone having to spend all that money.
Yeah, it's all about at what point do we need to, bite the bullet and then what to do.
Right.
Peter is describing a resurfacing,
Right.
which doesn't address the problem with the cracks, or the cause of the cracks.
Gotcha.
So the cracks almost certainly will reappear. We don't know how long, whether it be 5, 8, 10 years.
We'll see,
Whereas the more expensive repair.
It's a
based on-
long-term thing.
Well, yes, will probably be a 20 to, who knows how
When was
many.
the last time the town spent any amount of money on those courts?
We have resurfaced it. I don't recall when it was, in my memory, it was resurfaced, meaning there wasn't much of a crack repair. They probably did it, whatever was there, and it was resurfaced.
Yeah.
I do not remember how
It's
much.
about 6 years ago.
6 years ago? Is that what it was? Is that
Other
recent?
than that.
They put the color on it. All there was like a.
Yeah, that wasn't, yeah, it was just,
They resurfaced it.
yeah.
But there was a ceramic paint and they put sand in it.
Right.
And,
But I remember repair further.
Yes,
Yeah, that was another one.
$1,000. It was like a big amount we spent on it.
It was a much bigger project.
Yeah, yeah,
My time,
yeah.
it was before my.
Yeah, it was before.
Right.
It was before.
The other thing, John, is that, because you weren't there, which is interesting, is that all over the tennis courts, she was showing me these cracks everywhere.
Right.
The cracks weren't from tree roots or anything else. The cracks were the actual paint was separating, and the paint, the whole thing can peel up, and that's what was happening on there. If you look at it really carefully, it looks like, if you have all these cracks of roots, so you assume they're all a result of that. But the actual surface is is not adhering.
So you're saying just the top surface is cracking,
It's-
not the underlying?
It's paint. There's a layer, there's they put.
Call it the surface, so the
Yeah, it's a-
foundation over which they put the surface.
Yeah, it's black. It's like a basketball court. It's black top, and then they put this special paint on top of it, which is very thick,
Yeah,
and it's like a matting almost. That's maybe like a 16th of an inch thick, like a fabric almost, and it's cracking, and so it can peel up, and so that's another thing that's
So the
happening.
cracks don't go run into the foundation of the court, no?
No, it's just the paint itself. It's just that layer of paint that's starting to crack.
right, it's not a foundation.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's not the foundation.
There are probably 5, I don't know how many, actual
A layer.
seriously deep cracks,
Okay.
structural
Yeah.
cracks
Yeah,
Okay.
for a varying lengths.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
That's just- yeah.
we can leave it and do nothing and plan to do something in the fall.
What's it
or
cost to reline? Do you
What?
do you remember what it cost to put the pickleball lines in?
$1,000. We were already gonna go ahead and do that.
It's what?
We were already gonna bite the bullet and do that.
Oh, you are gonna do
Even
that.
though if you're gonna resurface, you have to reline. So it, you spend it now and then you'll do it over again.
Yeah,
But, if it's important to the game, you need to have lines.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
I think that's a pressing priority, and then everything else is, like you say, do we want to push it down the road? If we have the money, why not just get it done?
So can we have a motion then? We've been talking about it for quite a while.
Well, I'm not comfortable with, personally, I think that if we're gonna spend $30,000, we should get, or whatever, we should get more information or more bids. And in the meantime, I mean, I don't
But we
know.
will have to issue an RFP. I mean,
Yeah,
get bids and then decide
yeah.
what to do. And to do that, we have to make very clear what we're asking them to bid on.
Mhm.
Whether it's a crack repair surfacing
Right.
or a rebuilding, pouring of.
But we have, am I wrong? Don't we have bids in here?
We have proposals,
Proposals, yeah.
not bids. And they have different, they're two different, as I said, they address two different
So it seems to me
or scopes of work.
we need more experts coming in, taking a look at this course in court and saying really finding out what's really going on, what really will make the best long-term repair. I mean, if there's structural things going on, seems to me those need to be evaluated by a number of different people and get some proposals on the best way to fix them. I mean, because you want a long-term fix, I would think.
Yeah, I don't know what John's got a lot of information. I don't know anything about what he's done. I just know that these people were doing the basketball court, so I asked them to look at it.
Right.
And so I'm not the person, but right now it's just a matter of, do we want to spend $5,000 to do a Band-Aid and then do the
4,000.
All right, well, we have to get the lines.
Well, the pickleball, that's more.
Yeah.
1,000 for the pickleball lines, that's irrespective of anything.
So
It's the better part of 1,000 to clean the court. And just get the mold off. It's about 4,000 to do the crackdown.
is there any safety issues that would be? I mean, I've seen some of the cracks are really huge, and you probably have to dance around them. So
that was my concern.
So a temporary fill for $4,000 just to relieve any kind of immediate hazards.
It's like
that makes some kind of sense.
Yeah, I don't think it's
told nobody has tripped over them yet.
Okay.
To me,
Does
it
it
looks
affect
like
plane?
could happen.
Pardon?
I would imagine it affects plane if the ball bounces into the crack.
I mean, $4,000 isn't a whole lot of money, so
Yeah.
compared to 120,000. So
Yeah.
Or 80, which
or 80,
but
whatever.
$30,000 is that's. Well,
We're not going to do this. I mean, getting the RFP written and getting bids in and having people come out and give them engineering feedback, that's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
So for the rest of the season, it kind of makes sense to fill in the cracks, just alleviate any hazards.
I mean, we can agree, let's fill the cracks and let's put together the RFP. And
Right.
let's get the proposals in
Yeah.
so that we can make a reasoned decision and the work will be done. If all that goes quickly, it could be done before winter or the worst case after winter, whatever the requirements are for doing this. I suspect it's relatively warm weather, not really cold weather. You don't pour asphalt in cold weather. So we could agree to do it that way, sure.
I don't know. It's just, I'm sorry, but the cleaning the courts, have you been on the court? Like, does it really need to be?
Absolutely.
You think so?
If it's a damp evening, I mean, if it's any wet or anything just damp, because
Yeah.
a lot of dew,
Yeah.
good luck out there with you sliding around on the mold.
On
The back,
ends,
it's the back.
ends, yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
on the court.
Yeah.
But it's where you're
Where's that
gonna
lights
run
on?
behind.
Yeah.
It's not.
Okay, but I mean, I'm just saying, we're gonna spend money on cleaning it and putting lines down, and then we're gonna go
And then we're gonna
redo it.
go,
Redo it, yeah, okay.
if we do it, that money will be
Yeah.
only
That's,
part of the deal.
yeah.
No, it's not, I don't like it, that's why I've kind of dragged my feet.
And the thing is it so pressing that we need to spend that money now versus waiting a couple months to just?
Well, if you wait a couple of months, you might as well wait till the spring and then we might as well decide whether to do it, but do it. My personal opinion is unless we really put our noses to it, we wouldn't be able to make a decision until mid-fall, and we'd be lucky to get it done before next spring.
Right, Well, I use all my energy on the basketball court, so.
I know, I mean,
I'm,
it
I'm
takes energy.
letting this group decide what you guys want to do.
But we don't, I mean, when I say we have proposals, we literally have, some of them are fairly compact and it's not full. You know, they're not full proposals. They're not a response to a set of criteria. They're just, here's our core, what, you know, what would it cost for you to work on it? They tell you. And Meredith got them, I mean, to her credit, and gave us the ballpark numbers that we have in the budget. Okay, so, I didn't want to spend the 4,000 without the council knowing
Yeah.
that would happen. I do think the cleaning, I guess the pickleball lining are priorities for sure.
Tell Mike we want him to use green filler, so it doesn't.
Part of it is to match.
He will match it?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, part of it, he's put in there a materials thing to match
Okay.
whatever color the town wants.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this time, that was a trial, so you.
Yeah, I understand.
Don't hold them to,
Yeah.
you know, a finished product on that one.
So did a decision just
Well,
get
that's what
made?
I would like to
I don't-
have a proposal to go ahead with this, a motion to go ahead with it.
You don't even need one because it's under $5,000.
Well, yeah.
Just,
You need a
it's a
motion.
maintenance.
Oh, I want the council.
Let's make a,
The spending.
I make a motion to perform maintenance repair now and evaluate resurfacing in the spring.
All right, I'll second it.
Okay, do they have further
So
discussion?
so what, is that the Jupiter Systems?
Yeah, that would.
Proposal, okay.
Okay.
And further discussion, all in favor? All right, thank you, that's you, thank you, believe me, I'm not enthusiastic about doing something that we may well just
I understand.
obliterate
Same, yeah.
in less than 12 months.
Mhm.
All right. Report on the status of website management. I have, I don't really want to make a long deal about this, but I want to show you what the operating document looks like, which is not definitive, but is indeed what is going on. And all right, so you should be able to see in front of you a document that is titled Web Projects Pipeline. And this is an attempt to list most, if not all, of the current website projects that that are have been discussed as being desirable. Whether they are still a priority remains to be seen. All right, so you will see, with regard to the website, managing the website content, which is what I have been filling in doing, you know, to more or less some success, although not maybe as timely as everyone would like. With Marcus Trapp, our website developer, he has been doing the updates and I've been providing him the information, and others have been providing me with the information to provide to Marcus. Anna has expressed an interest in and thinks that it would be appropriate for her to participate, if not take over this. I'm a little bit of two minds on that. It can take longer than one would like. But to move in that direction, which is certainly to get it out of my work list into somebody else's, whether it's Anna or somebody else. We've spoken with Marcus, and Marcus is going to show Anna we're gonna have a discussion about the ropes. This would involve getting into WordPress. Be able to put the documents up wherever they are, whatever pages, whatever. So that's in progress. The story about the website content is anybody, and we're going to talk about communication, so it's not here. who has an issue with the content on any page, right, need to identify someone to update, to provide the information they believe should be there. And we can get it done, but we don't have bandwidth. We, being me, doesn't have bandwidth to go and pour through the website and find everything that's out of date or not insufficient information, whatever. So it relies on the committees and interested people who are interested in the various parts of the website to contribute to updating the content. We'll get it done. We just need to get the new material provided. That's project ongoing. It's a priority. Everybody seems to agree on that. If I'm mistaken, let me know. The next one is the request tracking system to manage requests and suggestions. This was, I'm already forgetting who suggested this last year. But this is a really terrific idea. And it addresses residents' complaints that they note things that need to be done. They inform the town, the council, Peter, and for one reason or the other, they don't see any progress on it, and nobody knows what happened to those requests. This would be a system to list all the requests and assign responsibility, who's supposed to do something about it, and then provide updates on what's happening. If it was decided not to do it, fine. That would be the decision. If it was something you couldn't do yet, fine. If they're about to get to it, great. Anyway, to track those requests. And Anna and I have discussed, Anna and I and Jean and anybody else who wants can contribute, is ideally this would be on the website. But it doesn't have to be. It can be a document, an Excel file, or would be a great start, which just lists requests and then has columns for the various pieces of information, who's responsible, whoever creates this list, and I'm looking at Anna, now that I can look around the corner, will notify the responsible person. And then we'll also notify them when they haven't done anything. I mean, what's going on? And keep this up to date. And hopefully it won't grow to be too overwhelming, although it might. And that, once it's set up, we could then have on the website so that no longer does Anna have to do it, but somebody can fill out a form. Here's what I think needs to be done. That would go into the system, would notify whoever, and we would therefore have a way of handling all these requests. Okay, so that project is on the high up on the on desirability, and and I think Anna's going to give it a shot at sort of trying it with, not with old stuff, but new stuff that comes in, right?
Yes.
We can deal with old stuff and treat it as new stuff.
This is like really, this is similar to Montgomery County's 311, which is a fantastic system. And we could actually look at what they do. And it's a lot of that's automated too, but you always get a response back, and
Exactly.
it can't get buried like it used to be. And that's the same thing, you know, not gonna be as
Well,
sophisticated.
it can get buried.
You have to hire 3 people, by the way.
Okay, next one, the letters to the mayor and council. Christine, of course, took it on herself to post PDF copies of letters when they were submitted in PDF, running entries of letters to the mayor and council. And she really spoiled the town residents by doing it very quickly for a fair amount of the time. I do want to point out that there is no legal responsibility for the town to do this. Any resident can query the town office for public information about letters to the council, and could get hear about it that way. All right, that's the standard way most governments handle it. But by proactively putting them on the website, we were going a step beyond. Anyway, that's the reality is that we choose to do it. The good news is that it's something that could be almost entirely automated. Once again, somebody, I mean, we could receive these. Somebody would have responsibility for vetting them because we're not posting offensive stuff and then just send it along to a web page, which would automatically put it in for the next one. Just basically what Christine was doing. But we talked to Marcus Trapp about finding a way to minimize human intervention once a letter was approved through this process. Okay, that's another. I think that's it. Depending on what the council wants to do, that's potentially a desirable thing. All right, here we are. The ordinances and resolutions current and accessible on the website. So first of all, we're trying to update the code of ordinances, which doesn't require them to be accessible on the website. It requires us to get the code of ordinances up to date. And then we want that on the website. But we can put them all on there, and that's desirable. I also have that 508 compliant thing. For those of you who don't know, that's the accessibility standard to make written documents and other sorts of documents accessible to all users. All right, the tennis court reservation system was something that was requested some years ago, and believe it or not, that is close to being tested. Yes.
Our ordinances say that the tennis courts are used on a first come, first served basis. So it appears that a reservation system would conflict with that.
Yeah, well, we would have to approve it. I mean, we're not implementing a system without a policy and procedure.
So we would overturn the ordinance?
Is it an ordinance or a resolution? It's probably a resolution. Policies and procedures should be resolutions.
I thought it was an ordinance that was sent to us when there was with the whole thing about locking the tennis courts.
I'm pretty sure that was a policy. I have to look it up.
Okay, well, we can check that.
It's an important point because you have to do an ordinance. But we try and keep those as resolutions because that's the only way you can efficiently change them rather than go through this.
And it's still first come, first serve. It's
Right.
just
It's on,
yeah, it's just
on the
being
website.
electronically the way to think about it.
Okay.
If you have a reservation, it's not.
Well,
whoever makes the reservation first.
yeah.
It all depends on how far in advance you can make your reservation.
Well, there can be rules about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, there is a project we have, so all governments, including local governments, are mandated to make web content accessible. It was going to be, the deadline was for small municipalities, April of next year. Because for large municipalities, it was April of this year. Guess what? They pushed it off a year. So it's large municipalities next year, and we are now not until 28. Well, it is on Marcus Trapp's radar that we do need to meet these requirements. So while it's not a priority in the short term, it's definitely going to have to become something that needs to be done. All right, some other ideas: updating house histories and having them online. And I have in there start a volunteer effort, since house histories was a volunteer effort, and keeping them current is a formidable challenge, or expanding them. Online submissions of applications and permits for review. Or the Planning Commission has now has online submission of the permit request. But the rest of the permit, all the other documents have to be delivered on paper. And whereas if you try to go to the county's DGS, I'm sorry,
TPS.
DPS, thank you. DPS, they now require all submissions to be electronic.
Mhm.
And they have a fancy system, including the engineering plans and all that stuff.
That's why we don't have police support.
Yeah. Okay. So how much further we want to go for online submissions is another priority to set. The search engine we all know sucks, not to put too fine a point on it. And to improve it has been a request from many people, and I've asked Marcus to look into that and actually have to pursue that. And finally, the idea of having an online directory, and actually one thing is not on here, I see it now, how could that be? Oh, I just skipped over it. Online directory, so everybody has spoken about having an online directory. This exposes some personal information. You know, it's like having an online, used to be, would have been an online telephone book. Remember telephone books? So anyway, that's I won't belabor that, but I did pass over this third one here. This one, and this is another one which just recently, and maybe Nick and Mary may address this, and that is that in order to satisfy residents with being able to get communications from the town, whether they're Grove alerts or information about what the planning commission is doing or what the lake is going on at the lake. It would be fantastic if we had an online system to opt in and out of communications, different subsets of communications. And by the opt-out would be the Grove Alert business, because we use the Grove Alerts as an official notification to all property owners, which is mentioned in our charter for various purposes. But so opting out of that is causes. But opting into all the other variations, that would be a great system, and I think that may end up, we'll see, being something to implement sooner or later. Okay, this is the list, current list. There are no doubt things not on here, and plenty of other ideas that could be. So that's my update as to how. Oh, and I should mention Arlene McCrean, because all these projects, with the exception to the one I mentioned Anna, she is currently the website development project manager. Doesn't do the development, but serves to communicate the details, etc., with our developer. So she's very, very valuable to have someone doing that who has some knowledge of what's going on and can talk to the town, obviously, as well as the developer.
So, just I just want to mention this to my esteemed colleagues here, that I know ChatGPT has mixed reviews from some people and all that, but I have used it a couple of times to search for things within the Grove, and it is absolutely terrifying how instantly it'll give me an ordinance. It'll give me basically anything that happens electronically here, whether it's on the website or I don't know where all this stuff is housed, but it can instantly pull in, and it's public. It's like, one time I was looking, we were trying to find a salary for our administrator, and it instantly, 1 second, told me what Kathy's salary was. Plus every salary that every other person in the whole, it's unbelievable And so we talk about, everything's connected now. And so when we're working on the website and all these things we're doing, that's the tool that's out there. And it's really, really scary, powerful. Ain't going away either. All right, I'm done with the.
Okay, all right, that's that. We now come to the communication between residents and the town council. And this is gonna toss it over to Nick and Mary.
I have a resolution. I handed out to everybody. I don't think I need do I need to read the resolution?
No.
Okay. I'm offering this resolution and then I'd like to
Yeah.
give a little bit of discussion as to, I don't know, does it need to be motion and? approved?
Yes, so you can move to approve.
Okay.
This was.
Well, I don't know if I can.
When you first introduce, you have to introduce.
I'm introducing a resolution establishing a council work group on communication.
Well, you move to approve it.
No, let's move to introduce. Then we discuss. Then we approve. You need a motion to approve, I agree, but first you discuss it. Or you
It's
can
not
do
really the way it
it,
goes.
do it the other way around.
Actually, the other
I
one.
don't want to belabor the point.
Okay, move to approve. I mean, it comes out of nowhere. Go ahead.
Comes out of Robert's rules of order. That's not nowhere.
Okay, well, I make a motion to approve the resolution.
I second.
Okay,
Now we have
so
discussed.
we can discuss.
Now you start the discussion with
Okay.
why you
I'd-
think this should be approved.
Yeah, I'd like to do a little bit of background on why I did this. I'm impressed with what you're doing, planning to do with the website. It's been a real problem in the past. We know that. Two people who presented tonight specifically dealt with problems on the website about not having information. If it comes to pass, that's great. Now, I'm going to take a different approach and say that you're based totally in technology, as opposed to what I consider face-to-face communication, which is more important. I've been working with Washington World Cares. I've been going into people's homes to help them with stuff. They don't know about Washington World Cares. It's only by word of mouth that I got in there through the back door to help these people. They're not on the listserv. Half the town is not on the listserv, and they don't know how to use the website. There is a group in town who is sophisticated enough that knows how to do this, but there's a very large group who doesn't. And there's a very large group who have problems with their eyesight, who have problems using computers, looking at the website and other stuff too. It's if you look at what this community is, there are about 15% of people who actively participate in everything we do, and there's about maybe 80% who don't. They're the ones who I'm trying to address. How do we communicate with those people? How do we get stuff to them? How do we deal with them? I don't think it's through a website. I don't think it's through the listserv. I think there are other ways we have to do, even maybe going back to paper monthly handouts, which is what the Washington Grove Cares is going to do, literally handing things out to doors with magnets and other things too, to get people educated. I mean, we've had this terrible winter. We had this recent heat dome. People are only going to be more vulnerable as we go forward. We're going to need the help of Washington Grove Cares. Me doing that with the people of Washington Grove Cares made me stand back and look at how we communicate with the citizens in town. And I think that we're very tech heavy. And I think that tech heaviness does not address a lot of people who are not into tech and who need the help and who need the information. That's why I did the proposal. I mean, I looked at the 2018 and 2020 feedback from people. It's amazing how everybody's saying exactly the same. When I talk with people, they're saying exactly what they're saying in 2018 and 2020. I think that the website only addresses a small percentage of the communication problem. And that's why I would ask that we form a work group to try to come up with other ways to better communicate with the people in town. They're not happy with us. They're not happy with us because of lack of communication. It's interesting, when I got that letter from WSSC, how many people called me and said, how come we didn't know about this? I don't know. I didn't know about it. Apparently, some people did know about it. But, would a website solve that? I don't know. But what I do know is that there is a very serious problem with communication in this town. I think that it goes beyond fixing the website. That's all I have to say.
I would totally argue with your numbers. I think that you're being really unfair by saying 15% and 80%. I think those numbers are way.
Well, how many people came to the chili dinner? How many people came to 4th of July? How many people show up with it? How many people vote?
Yeah, that's not communication. That's it's the 28 rule. Yeah, I think this is. I've lived here 40 years, and I think we definitely have a communication problem. But I don't think I don't. I think everything you said is great, and there is a percentage of people who might feel disenfranchised because of the technology. But I think that the communication from the mayor, from the council, from the committees, where it goes, who receives it, how they communicate back. It drives me crazy when residents, and they do it all the time, they have a question and they throw it out. It drives me crazy on the listserv for the entire town to have a discussion. Why don't they call the town clerk? And maybe, and now we have a different, we're addressing that a little differently, but why don't they go? Why don't they go to the people like, we had even like with this whole thing about with the sprays, and which was a very valid thing, but it's also Georgette is a person who has the answer instantly, and everybody knows Georgette is F&B. And people choose rather than doing that.
Wait, I'm not sure everybody knows that.
That's it's not just one-way communication.
Right.
It's the two-way communication. And we've got 500 people that live in this town. We've got all these volunteers who do things. And so maybe it's a matter of just educating. The kiosks are an example, okay, of trying to begin a process of communication where if you want information, and it's just beginning, but people will eventually be trained to look at the kiosks and get updated information, as opposed to we used to put hundreds of flyers, paper, all over town, which it would rain, it'd get soggy, they'd be curved. And after a while, you train yourself. You don't know if it's a new one or an old one. And so moving in that direction of saying what are the needs and how do we basically how do we communicate? I spent my entire career with communication, teaching communication skills. Say, look at this, and we need to put a committee together. I agree. Look at all the ways that we do communicate right now. How can we improve that? And it's not the website. It's not magic. It's not going to change it. And what you're talking about is part of it, but it's misleading to make it sound like that's the solution.
Well, I didn't offer solutions.
No, I know. I thought that was very good.
I offered a work group.
Yeah, I think we need to address
But
that.
I think the idea of, it's come up often enough, and this is a recurring thing, the idea of getting a group to look specifically at all the different aspects of it and come up with
Holistically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like nobody falls, right?
Otherwise you just talk about it and you get complaints and then you fix that,
Yeah.
but we really need to, to look at overall.
Yeah, nobody's to blame. Everybody's doing the best they can. But we always do things the way we've always done things too. And we have to look at how do we take advantage of technology and our resources, and how do we, move forward. That's all. It's like,
I mean, I think Nick focused on kind of the most reasonable thing to do is to get a group together and discuss what is really deficient and what sorts of solutions are there. Why is it deficient and what solutions are? That's this proposal. That's all it is.
right.
The justification,
But that's his proposal, but I'm saying that there's a
But the
bigger.
proposal is only to
Yeah.
put it.
it's not a
The
solution.
group
Right.
will discuss that. I
Right.
mean, so that's
So-
the thing, that
Yeah.
will come into
I
the
agree,
discussion.
and I thought the proposal was great.
So it's just
Yeah.
to
And
set up a group.
we happen to have Marita Hines sitting here, who was the last council member to spend energy trying to address communication gap that residents were complaining about. And that's what you were referring to, of she's the one with the group, a work group that put together some steps that everybody felt would improve things. And that was what now, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And to the extent that didn't satisfy the needs of everyone, that's, it certainly was not expected to solve the problems, and clearly it hasn't. So I really applaud Nick for approaching this in a systematic way. Let's not claim this is a solution. Let's put together and get a group to consider what solutions, what are problems that we can have solutions to. That's half the issue, in my opinion. Everybody comes to this same conclusion themselves eventually. There will always be people complaining that they don't know what's going on because they don't take the trouble to read the various and sundry things that we put out regularly that explain what's going on. They'll be surprised that, hey, have a stormwater management project. Because they didn't want to read for whatever reason, and they're entitled not to do it. What's more difficult is to know when to pay attention to when it's the problem of disseminating information in a way that it will be provided adequately, and when it's a problem with those who just don't take the trouble to do it. So I think Nick gave a good preamble. He was talking about people, I think you were saying, people who literally, aren't able to use the technological modes that we are providing information, and that might be benefit by an alternative.
Okay, yeah, we're not arguing,
Well,
agreeing, but
right.
I'm technologically savvy. I was 10 years ago. I am totally overwhelmed and cannot get the information I need. I'm on the council. It's between spam and all the different email accounts we have, especially in this town. Who uses this, like from the top down? Who uses .gov? And we have this. Yeah, it took me like forever to get it. Right, I haven't started using it, but I have to. But all my emails for town work comes through my regular account, and at least 50% go to spam. And I have 80 or 90 spams every day, junk mail. And I have a special account, another account for the Grove, which is on Gmail. And I'm just saying that it's difficult, and so I imagine everybody is kind of going through, a lot of people at least are going through the same thing of you not getting information, and we need to look at that. That's all. Among other, and this is one way we communicate. We communicate in many different ways, and so how do we communicate? And Nick brought up, Nick used one example, but I agree. Talking about putting a group together to look at all these things and see how we can improve it is, I'm agreeing with that. I just disagree with you at 15%. That's all. But I totally agree with what you said.
I think the person who told me that was you.
I don't even have a good answer to that.
Okay. All right, any other comments? There's a resolution on the table.
But my only comment to the resolution is that, do we really need a resolution? And I say that only because we ended up with a vacant property, what turned out to be an ordinance. Without a resolution, we were able to effectively put together a good team of folks. And what worries me is part of all the data that we're having to deal with, right? Right now, and that's one of the things I brought up a couple months ago is, when you take a look at the website, you'll see that there's one resolution that talks about town hall rentals and usage. But then if you go to take a look, there's another resolution that's almost identical that was written, 8 years apart from each other. It's unfortunate that configuration control, I think, is a big issue. And all we got to do is add to the pile by putting another resolution out there.
I'll tell you why I did a resolution. The reason I did a resolution is having watched this council for a year and been on now for 3 months, things tend to go on and on and on. And the resolution says
I see.
the work group brings back recommendations within 4 months. I mean, I specifically wanted a time frame in there so that it wouldn't go on and on and on, so it's not 2018 and 2020, and now we're 6 years later, and the residents are still having the same complaints.
So why can't we establish within this council a team, and it's the mayor agree to a certain due date for a report? Another case in point is we had.
I'm fine with that. I'm
Okay.
perfectly fine with that.
A comment. Resolutions are just formal expressions of emotion. Emotion is the same thing as a resolution. It just doesn't go into the detail, the background, and it's not, well, I just said it's not as detailed and on record as being, here's what the council wants to do. You can do motions, it's fine, and you can attach, I mean, deadlines and timelines, and somebody just has to pay attention to them.
Right.
Well, I think,
You know,
another point that I was gonna bring up is the trail safety work group that we had. We just kind of, collectively and the mayor put together an email with a list of bullets of what he wanted, and deliverables showed up, and we were very successful without having to add. Again, I can't emphasize enough. It's gonna be a nightmare for Anna to go through all of the documents to see what we have out there, because we keep pumping out resolutions. It's I was surprised to see two for the town hall that were almost identical. I don't know what's different between the two and
one of
why they were both.
them, didn't the newer one say this supplants resolution,
No.
whatever?
No.
Yeah, sure it did.
I
I'm
didn't
pretty
see
sure
that.
it did. If it didn't, that was an oversight. It should have said this supplants the whatever. And you can't get rid of the earlier one. It's a matter of record. And you can't put in the newer one, you can't have all the copies refer to the older one refer to a newer one. You simply have to be able
And
to
that's all I'm
find
saying.
the latest one. And Paul, who gave a public appearance, was complaining that the newest
Isn't
renewable energy program rules were not on the website. In fact, it was the original ones. And there's been some changes. So it's the same problem. The old one didn't refer to a newer one. So I'm not sure there's any way of fixing what you're saying, except if the code of ordinances is up to date, which within a very short time, when an ordinance becomes effective, the code reflects that.
Yes,
Okay?
I agree.
That's not gonna help you with policies and procedures. That's another organization.
I'm just saying we shouldn't add to the pile until we catch up to where we need to. Shove it in the sand.
No ordinances or resolutions until
I'm
Anna
sorry.
gets her act together.
It keeps raining, you gotta keep bailing.
Yeah.
So again, the question is
that what you're saying?
we were able to accomplish,
Right.
the trail safety path and what else did I bring up?
Vacant house.
The vacant properties, and they were very successful and in a timely fashion. So, that's.
Well, I either way, I don't have anything against the resolution. I thought it was well conceived. It sets up a way of moving forward. So let's just go with it. The next time you can do a motion, instead of a resolution, it's just the same thing in a different way. And it is always a good idea to have written down the expectations from this action are boom to boom to boom. We all agree with that, I think. And it's a way of, keeping ourselves honest about what's going on.
I hear you, but again,
Okay, I know, you're
the
looking
trail
at,
safety, we had bullets.
I know,
and
did a
came
great
from you,
job.
and we worked off of
Yeah.
those.
okay.
So
Does
Yeah.
it say somewhere in here that it have to do it in 4 months?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's in there,
Yeah, somebody says that.
Oh, I see, okay.
Okay. There's no further discussion. Let's move to a vote on the resolution. No objection to all in favor of the resolution?
Yeah,
We see
Yeah.
5 opposed. Unopposed. We know why. We wanted a motion. All right. Thank you. 5-1 with. All right. That brings us to the playground renovation RFP, and everybody's standing by.
Well, we have a resolution, but what are we doing as far as who's on the working group? Are we gonna, when we?
Good point. Here,
I would
we
volunteer.
can either identify people tonight or identify people next time.
How many people do you expect? I would like to be on it.
Yeah, I'd like to be on it.
But
I
if
think
somebody
they'll do
wants
it
to-
tonight so we can start working.
Okay, well, we need 3 council members is all we were.
Do you guys wanna, if somebody else wants to take my seat, I don't mind, because then I'll
There it is.
critique.
The 3 of you.
Okay, because then I could critique Nick from the outside instead of from the inside.
We can still give you
Okay,
input.
yeah, we're all gonna be,
Yeah.
so, okay. Okay.
Okay, so we've got a note here. And Peter, all right.
This word is not.
All right.
It's a work group.
All right, so the next item is the Washington Grove Playground renovation and modernization RFP.
Yes.
We had a discussion of that last at the last meeting. The council requested that they do some consultation with a professional at who they had already identified at Montgomery Parks, and revise the RFP appropriately. So Oscar is here. Tell us all about it.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion to, can I do that? I'm gonna make a motion to approve the RFP.
I would second that, no, sorry. I
Right.
hope everybody read.
We don't need
it.
that.
And yeah, I was gonna say that too.
Yeah.
If people have questions, sure, ask
Right, I
Oscar.
don't think.
But I
yeah.
think
I think they
we've
did a
heard
tad-
so much
Yes, so
and
do
we've
I.
all had an opportunity to talk to him and give our input.
Yeah.
That I'm not sure who needs to
Even though
he
he stayed up
prepared
so
this
late.
beautiful presentation and now we don't. We had
No, I don't know that the answer beautiful.
It was a great RFP.
Yeah,
Yes.
Thank you.
sorry about that. So can we vote?
Um,
Somebody doesn't have any questions.
I
You
would,
guys,
is there any discussion? Sorry, Oscar. Does anybody want to hear from Oscar?
no.
No.
Does anybody have any
Everybody else.
questions for Oscar? He's here.
if we have questions.
Is there any discussion?
Great job,
Great
So
job.
great job.
really
Good.
fabulous.
Okay, I do have one comment.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to make a comment about the RFP. So, and I've said this before, but I feel compelled to say it again. This RFP is looking basically for a general contractor for the playground renovation project. And by engaging a general contractor, you have that has advantages and a cost. All right, and whoever makes this proposal is to get something out of it. If they're not paid as in overhead, they're paid somehow. And that needs to be recognized at the outset. We don't know what that entails. The responses, it will be more clear in the responses, but it's impossible that anybody responding to an RFP of this sort won't include something for their effort. And that is that reduces the resources available for the actual renovation project. And so I know the playground committee recognizes this. I had felt, and maybe I've just, it's old thinking. When we were going to do this playground project year by year, without $250,000, boom, to use. When we were gonna do it year by year, the idea of having a contract such as this was out of the question. Because you can't commit future councils to contracts for future funds, but you can to current funds. Under those circumstances, the idea was that the playground committee would act as the general contractor, meaning they would identify the various parts, the fact that the site needs to be designed, obviously hire someone to do the site design and maybe execute the site design. Identify what sort of equipment is going to go where, and go and get proposals and go and get bids for those equipment, and then decide on those equipments sequentially, serving as the organizer of the whole project. This RFP is fairly careful in indicating that there needs to be decisions made in the execution of the proposal or of any contract awarded. So there's no question the town's get all the input we need. On the other hand, it potentially limits the options, which may or may not be negative. I'm kind of being a Pollyanna here, not Pollyanna,
Yes, you are.
what's the opposite of a Pollyanna?
Naysayer.
Not a naysayer, a cautionary, there's a word for that, I can't remember at the moment. Okay, and that in any event, issuing an RFP and reviewing responses does not spend any money. I mean, really. So the proof is in the proposals. Proof is in the proposals, guys, and that's what we'll all be looking for. It could be really exciting. Don't get me wrong. End of statement. All right.
Can we just hit delete on that whole
Yeah,
conversation? Can we vote?
Can we vote?
All right. So all in favor of approving dissemination of this RFP? Okay, any opposed? Any abstentions? One abstention, we have John Porter abstains. He didn't say why he abstained?
No, I was wondering.
But
Doesn't have to say why.
no,
It's like playing poker.
I don't have to, but you. Okay, so how to move forward? This is the first contract we're gonna do with Anna as our town administrator. This is just one more thing she gets to dive into. So, what we need from with the draft is to fill in whatever you think you can fill in. And I will certainly contribute anything that I think needs to be added or might be, and we can talk about it and make sure that it doesn't change anything. We're not gonna make any material changes. This is just detail. And then we have to attach this to the rest of our RFP. You probably you've seen it in the other RFPs you've seen that we include. So we'll try and put this whole thing together, and meanwhile, we'll leave it to you guys to identify who this should go to. So we need addresses, emails, what have you, to send out the finished RFP.
And then when the meeting's over, Oscar, everybody's gonna stay and listen to your presentation, okay?
Well, I had no presentation. I was going to just talk briefly, very briefly. So no, I'm very happy with how it turned out.
All right.
I think we just need to make sure that we talk through the timeline, all the dates and the Q&A dates and the window. We just need to make sure that we have those that's solidified too.
Yeah, don't worry. Well, we'll put it something reasonable, but hopefully, you guys are good with. unless the council wants to get involved, I recommend they not.
Oh.
All right, thank you, Oscar, for.
Thanks.
Yeah, great job, man.
See, there are advantages.
Great job.
There are advantages to being late in the meeting sometimes. You know, everybody has no energy to.
No, we just think it was a.
Just I did. I only have.
Yeah, we need to.
Yeah, there you go. See? All right, thanks. All right, next item is ordinance 2026-06, the 203 Second Avenue sale of town land. We had the public hearing. But prior to this meeting, you heard no comments. This, it's been introduced, so if there's any discussion, before we move to a vote? Any discussion? All right, move to a vote. All in favor of the ordinance? All right, that's unanimous. The ordinance passes.
Yeah.
Great. All right, we have some new business. The first item is something we have now done for, it could be the fourth year. And these are two resolutions authorizing deer management bow hunting sessions. The resolutions are identical to past years, with the exception of changing dates. No new terms, no stricken terms, no nothing. So this authorizes a bow hunting session running from September 16th. I forget the dates.
From September through January.
Yeah, through January. Okay, in the east and west woods, and the other second ordinance is in the conservation meadow. The county will see. Any discussion?
You have a question. Don't they don't they have to be in a stand?
Yeah.
Yes.
So in a conservation meadow, there aren't any really.
They put up a
trees.
stand.
They put up a stand up?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Just curious.
So I have another question. Would it be possible at some point to get some very short report on the impact of the deer management on, I know in the past Patty has given a report like that, like now there's fewer deer and then the native species are coming back, but I wonder if it would be possible, and I don't want to ask somebody to spend a whole lot of time on that, but just even like a few statistics or bullet points, because that's why we're doing this. So it would be nice.
They get like
Report on the
deer.
effectiveness.
As you said, like 3 deer or 2 deer sometimes the whole season.
Yeah.
We got six last
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
6.
Yeah.
That's-
And,
I
and-
think there were 2 bucks and 4 does, or one buck and 5 does, I think is.
That was last year. That's
What?
pretty good.
Patty's.
Well, that's not.
$2 last year.
Not tonight. Patty's here, you know, if you care to try and put together something that would address the idea of how effective this.
Doesn't cost us anything.
Sure, I don't want to ask.
And by all means, ask the county how effective their part. And they'll probably have data from all over the county, but that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember, they're also looking at deer vehicle collision issues, reduction of deer broadly, so they have other metrics. But sure, I'll be happy to, put some summary information together on some sort of generic metrics that we're looking at, which includes the improvement in the ecosystem within the East Woods, the decrease in the browse line and the increase in native plants. Okay, I'll be happy to. Do you have a timeline for that, or is that okay as we?
When, a month or two, or whenever.
Okay.
I can tell you from my own personal experience, I've had 2 collisions with deer here in Washington Grove. I haven't had any in the last 15 years. It's either because there are fewer deer or because I drive more safely. Take a guess. Take a guess which one is probably the actual reason. Yeah. All right. Okay, thanks. All right, next item.
Did we vote on that? Oh, we did.
Yeah, we did.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Sorry.
We did?
Did we vote? Maybe we didn't vote. All in favor of Okay, yeah. All right, that was unanimous vote. You're right, it was the press. We're
Thank
going
you.
very quickly here.
Yeah.
All right, next new business is the introduction of ordinance or 2026-10 authorizing an easement to Montgomery County to extend the Washington Grove connector to the end of Brown Street. That consists of the ordinance, which was drafted by their town attorney. It's in the materials. That ordinance is necessary to authorize signing an easement, granting an easement to the county. It includes two exhibits. One of the exhibits is the easement area
Easement
map,
construction.
the map of what the easement is. There is actually an easement, the permanent easement, and there's a temporary easement for the construction, since they have to trample all over town property in order to build this thing. And the second thing is a draft of the easement itself. That draft has not been agreed to by the county and the town. Wherein the county is currently, the county attorney is currently reviewing our proposals to add a couple of terms. We expect them to get back to us, and we are negotiating whether those terms will can be included, or whether there's an alternate mechanism to come to an agreement about the issues. All of which we'll want to conclude by next month, the next council meeting, when hopefully we'll be able to vote on approving the easement. Meanwhile, we have to have a public hearing. Suggestion is to have the public hearing before the next council meeting on August 10th. That's the background. So I need the resolution introduced, the ordinance introduced, and then we can have discussion or just move on.
I move to approve this with the amendments that Sue Ellen added.
Okay,
I'll second. Peter, second.
okay. All right, so this ordinance is now on the floor. It has to have a public hearing before we have action. Everybody okay with having it at 7:30 on August 10th?
Yes.
That would be at the start of the meeting, just like we did tonight.
But I'm sorry, this is my ignorance. What is our responsibility in a public meeting? Do we just show up and listen?
Yes,
Okay,
the council needs to
but
be.
we won't be talking.
No,
Okay.
No.
So it's just like
It-
the citizens 3 minutes, but it's a big thing.
but it's just directed at
Right, okay.
at a specific proposal, right? And there can be written comments on it as well, of course. Okay, great. So
Don,
that
this is Donna, and I know I'm not supposed to speak, but the 3 documents that have been uploaded to the website regarding this, their names apparently are too long. And they're not opening. So I am unable to the Dropbox. I'm unable to open any of them to review.
that's okay. I don't know why that is. Anybody have any problem?
No.
Okay, please just email me and I'll make sure you get it. I'll send them to you directly. So you won't have to go through Dropbox. Okay?
Will do. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. That brings us to town council reports, which were in the packets. Of note, from the at the planning commission from Peter, was they have discussed let me back up. The property owner, Joe Bloom, at 406 Fifth Avenue, has approached the town to resolve known issues with her property, and, use encroaching on town land, and the planning commission is considering ways to resolve those issues, and will be making a recommendation to the council. That's in the council report. From the Woods Committee, just one small item, they are considering the use of a kiosk design, appropriate to the trails of
Just,
the wood.
John,
Sorry?
just back up a little bit. So she sent a letter to the Bayern Council.
Yes.
So you're,
And I sent it on to the planning commission chairman.
okay, so you don't want this, okay.
No,
So okay. So you said we'll make a recommendation at the next meeting.
whenever you get around to
Okay.
making a recommendation, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Or we could just decide it right now.
no.
Okay, I thought that the planning commission had already
No.
alerted you. Okay, moving on. Because Nick's gonna swap me if I wait things any longer. Okay,
Back to the Woods Committee report, they're considering the use of an appropriate kiosk design for the trails and woods. The installation of the culverts previously approved by the council, to replace bridges and improve trail crossings is expected to happen sometime this summer. I'm pointing at Steve. When he and RJ can accomplish that.
okay.
And from the Historic Preservation Commission and McCatherine Hall. I put those together because it was mentioned in both of them. The Town Archive Project, which we heard a presentation from Historic Preservation Commission Chair Bob Gore. The effort to get that restarted resulted in a meeting here. What was discussed was the responsibilities, for the practical cataloging and the process workflow and coordinating the archive work with our town records management obligations, and the use of Past Perfect. So we had that was reported in several council reports. And we'll get a status on that probably next month because some decisions were made and need to be activated, and the project will be restarted in a hopefully a concerted manner. We have funds in the budget to do this. And that's all I had. Anybody else have anything they want to say from their council reports? This is the time.
Not from the council reports, but I just want to remind everybody about our parliamentary training on November 14th from 9 to 1. I sent an email to everybody, but just make sure you put it on your calendar.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to make that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There was no time when
Sure,
everybody could make it.
Yeah.
I gave like 12
You're kidding.
choices.
That was amazing.
Good.
Okay.
A long meeting today.
So the next meeting is, and it will be also a public hearing on Monday, August 10th. I don't know why it says 7 PM. I'll make it 7:30. I don't think there'll be a lot to say about the easement, but there might be.
Do we come here or do we join by Zoom
What?
for that meeting, the public hearing?
It's part of the
Just like
meeting. Yeah, it's just like you come here, it's just like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had one today.
Yeah.
There was nobody had anything to say.
No, that's good.
Okay, in that case, unless there's any objections, we are adjourned.
Good meeting.
15 minutes early.
Wow, good.
No, we started at 6 o'clock.
I know.
Okay, what was the?
Okay, Fred.
That's why I get it on my.
Oh, August 10th.
Paul,
Oh,
Okay.
that has.
it was just, so.
So what's the next Yes, usually the public hearings are held
And
at
that's
the very beginning of the council
Oh,
meeting.
What am I doing?
No, it'll just be like.
It changed.
Well, they didn't renege.
Well,
What they did was they sent it to the cloud. And everything is in the cloud.
He was just.
Unfortunately, the software.
Oh, sure.
I know you won't get that.
I think somehow they got bought. And all that data.
Yeah, but you know,
They were talking about.
Hey, I have a question about, so these lights out
On
here.
our laptop, where we could do the,
All this stuff.
you know.
Virginia asked to like.
Stars and